Set is cat. Jana is spanner. Celeste is best. Aristotle. In Celeste, you play as Madeline. Or in the case that you're just as much a mad lad as I am, you can go full Pokemon style and name yourself. If I had to describe Celeste in one word, I would use the word pure, as it holds true in so many senses of the word. On one hand, the story is a pure and wholesome tale of perseverance and not giving up on oneself. The characters are predominantly light-hearted and innocent, the sound effects and music are light and uplifting, and the settings are gorgeously saturated with at least 18 rainbows worth of colour in each goddamn level. But on the other hand, the gameplay is pure, authentic platforming, and its difficulty is managed in such a way where Celeste will put your platforming skills to the absolute test, yet feel forgiving and fair in doing so. Starting off, players help Baraknek begin her climb up Mount Celeste, meeting some granny who laughs at you before you leave. Celeste definitely has its moments that feel scarily similar to real life. In this segment, you're taught the basic controls, you move, you jump, you climb walls, alright? It's not that fucking difficult, get on with it already. Whoa. That's it. In just over a minute, you now have all you need to conquer the enormous journey ahead. You're not going to learn any more abilities or unlocks. Progression in Celeste happens purely in its levels alone. 1 minute it gets you to use a dash move to cover a large unjumpable distance. The next, you're tripping balls in outer space, jumping on exploding space fish and jellyfish. Again, much like real life. You'll often come to think Celeste is hard at times in your first playthrough, and then you'll get to attempting the bonus B-side levels or DLC stages, and shed a single solemn tear reminiscing in the good old days where you didn't have to. Bats off this guy, dash, quickly jump off ice brick, dash, refresh your dashes, time your jump to boost off magma brick, dash, this guy's good to bounce off of now, dash, time another magma brick jump, dodge the evil fire boy, refresh dashes again, dash, dash. Celeste keeps things fresh and exhilarating by never letting you get too comfortable. Each stage in the journey exhibits new obstacles and resulting level mechanics. Most good, some mediocre, and many of them great. Just as you get accustomed to springing off giant mechanical launch pads, it gets you to here, there, and like you just don't care. As well as those stages have just that little bit of extra depth with the abundant inclusion of secret hidden passages scattered around levels that'll get you bonus content or collectible strawberries. Strawberries are kind of like these little tidbits of hard mode, acting as the source of extra challenge in a normal level or being the sole purpose of entirely separate levels. It's stated that there's no reason to collect them, you don't get a special ending, the story doesn't change, it's completely optional. But come on, man! That's just like when the guy on Hot Ones tells the guests they don't have to have the hottest sauce. Man!
Alright, this is
strawberries.
It is tradition around here
to not be a little pussy bitch and just grab the f***ing strawberries, you little f***ing pussy bitch.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
You don't have to if you don't want to, but I'm going to put extreme peer pressure and I'm going to humiliate you and let everyone know what a bitch you are if you don't. You don't have to, though.
Man, really chose an S-tier fruit as well. If the collectibles were melons or something, I don't think anyone would bother. I will say, some of the hidden stuff is in the dumbest ass piece of assy places that you'll have to probably research online to have any hope of finding. And then you get to the end and boom, sorry bitch, you can't pass here till you get at least 4 hearts. To which my response was, there's hearts? Celeste's storyline is not overly complex. You meet some people along the way, but the central theme is witnessing Baraknik's internal conflict alongside her grueling ascent up the mountain. Suffering from intense anxiety, Baraknik maintains the incessant desire to triumph this challenge for no one but herself, and I found myself relating with and really rooting for her throughout. Personally, I feel that there is a time and a place for heavy focus on narrative in video games. Like sure, maybe the story could be more complex with more characters and theatrics, but it's not really applicable to complain about it. No game can have everything, so devs focus on what they think really matters. Naturally, it comes down to player preference. Celeste exhibits a uniquely seamless, refined platforming gameplay experience, but its plotline takes a backseat. League of Legends manages to introduce more and more anime titties by the month, but it's a shitshow cock party of a game. You win some, you lose some. Which brings me to Celeste's strongest trait. Playing it. I know I touched on gameplay already, but look man, I ain't a brain box. You want organized structure in your YouTube content, go watch Tile Code or something, just get off my case. Being one of the oldest and goldest genres in video games, signing up to make a platformer is quite the ambitious move. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of like this red plumber guy that goes, woohoo, and I did it! But he's kind of a big deal in the platforming scene. And what I think makes Celeste so worth playing amidst its exceptional competitors is how good it feels to play and its approach to difficulty. There's a banging video by Game Maker's Toolkit on this that goes super in depth that I feel is worth watching even if you didn't do a questionable games dev degree, but I'll try to just hit the main points here. Celeste was built from scratch, meaning its physics aren't based off of a default popular engine like many other indie titles in the genre. Game development includes many things. One of these is testing. A foolish normie might think this sounds like the best job ever. Ha ha ha! I know, Gerald. Playing video games all day sounds like a dream job. Wish I could do that instead of having a real job sending emails all day. But when you do testing and realize that means playing the same bitch tits levels 500 times a piece, documenting your findings, and getting real life people to try to make sure you buy it, is this shit even fun? I feel another common screw up with game dev is the importance of this testing. I don't know how people can have confidence their game is fun without playing it and going, yeah, this is fun. Like, how does this shit slip under the radar? Maybe I'm wrong and they lucked out, but it really feels like Celeste underwent a metric bumhole load of testing. Bioethnic's jump is quick and useful without being floaty or stiff. You're given quick responsive control of her movement, both on foot and in the air. Grabbing walls makes her stick to them like glue, and her dash has a fixed, constant distance and set of directions. On top of this, the physics in Celeste allows skilled players to push the movement system to its absolute limit and pull off some truly ludicrous shit. You know, I'd like to say I'm a fairly decent Celeste player. You know, I've played a fair amount, unlocked a decent portion of the game's stuff. But by God, if I am ever humbled more than I was when I saw someone speedrun it, I will be very surprised. Take this chapter for example, minor spoilers, but one of my favorite segments in the game is this bit where you confront your inner goth chick. It's super fun because for a change of pace, it rewards you for zooming in guns blazing without really thinking about it too much. I remember at the time really getting into it, feeling sick about myself, like damn, I'm blitzing this chick. Then I watched this guy. This guy is not human. What's more is that all these actions are depicted to you so seamlessly. Subtle dust particle effects when you hit the ground, squash and squeeze animations when you're jumping, flashing exhaustion indicators when climbing, and frequent controller rumble when dashing or colliding with objects. This dense assortment of visual and tactile feedback makes controlling Bioethnic an absolute pleasure. You generally know exactly what you're doing and when. Most of the time.
Training is important, but a little fun never hurt anybody.
It's a bit of a game dev lecture at this point, but Celeste's approach to difficulty is also highly commendable. In games, I reckon you have good difficulty and you have bad difficulty. Good difficulty is generally aspects of difficult gameplay that are for the most part enjoyable to tackle and eventually overcome. Bad difficulty is shit that's difficult for the sake of being difficult and isn't really any more entertaining in being that way. Celeste's engine being built from the ground up allowed the developers to implement an array of subtle mechanics or tweaks that minimize the bad difficulty and let the good difficulty take the main stage. There's a selection of tweets by one of the devs that depicts this really well. You can jump for a few frames after leaving a platform. Dashing into the edge pixel of a corner doesn't abruptly stop you, but instead you maintain momentum and slip around it. Moving platforms still provides you with that extra momentum even if you're a little late on the jump. Or if you hit the jump button just before touching the ground, the game will remember and execute the command as soon as you land. Extremely subtle considerations like this reinforce the amount of effort that went into ensuring that Celeste felt excellent to play, and prevents the frustrating occasion where all that stops you from beating a level is just being a frame off of a button press. This means that while Celeste does not at all shy away from being extremely challenging, it's forgiving in doing so, and puts a focus on difficulty that's fair and that's fun. And if by some chance you're anything like me and you like games that are fun, give it a try, man. All in all, if I may get all preachy and academic again, I think the biggest takeaway with Celeste and with Bioethnic's journey is that you've got to keep trying, got to keep your head held high. There's always going to be another mountain, it's always going to be an uphill battle, and it ain't about how fast you get there, nor what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. Miley Cyrus. Give it a try, man.